Brachos Daf is entirely a discussion of dreams from beginning to end. It brings primarily 2 points about dreams. One is that they are a formation of what you've seen during the day, and those that do have meaning, generally the meaning of the dream follows how you interpret it. So if you interpret it for a good thing, it'll be interpreted correctly. The Gemara will bring a number of stories, incidents, and examples of dreams, and then it'll list various different things you might see in a dream and what they mean. So we begin with a challenge that the Roman Caesar, who is elsewhere identified as Hadrian, said to Rabbi Shua ben Chanani. He said, "You Jews say you're so smart, so tell me, what am I going to see in my dream tonight?" So Rabbi Shua said to him, "You're going to see that the Parthians, who you're afraid of, are going to capture you and press them into the service of their own king, and they're going to force you to be a pig herd with a stick made out of gold." So the Caesar thought about that all day, and lo and behold, that's what he dreamed about at night, which was Rabbi Yeshua's intent. Similar incident that the king Shapur, who the Gemara calls Shavor Malka, said, "You Jews," he said to Shmuel, "you Jews think you're so smart. Tell me what I'm going to see in my dream tonight." He said, "You're going to see that the Romans, who he was afraid of, are going to come and take you captive, and they're going to make you grind up date pits with a golden grinder." Well, that's what he thought about all day, and lo and behold, that is what he saw. Now the Gemara brings a lengthy story. There was a dream interpreter by the name of Bar Hedya, and if you paid him for his services, he would give you a good interpretation. If you didn't pay him, he would give you a bad interpretation. This was what he did, and the Gemara says that Rava and Abaye both had the same exact dream, and they came to Bar Hedya for an interpretation. Abaye paid him a zuz, and Rava did not. So Bar Hedya proceeded to interpret everything that Abaye saw for the good, and everything that Rava saw for the bad, and a lot of bad things happened to Rava because of that. So the Gemara is going to go through the list of all the things that they saw. First of all, they said, we saw that they were reading a list of psukim. Most of these psukim come from the Tauchicha, the curses that Klal Yisrael received if they don't do mitzvahs, and therefore most of them have a bad context, but he was able to interpret it for a good way for Abaye, but not for Rava. So the first thing they said was that they saw the pasuk that says, "Shorcha tevuach le'einecha," your ox will be sorted in front of you, but you won't be able to eat from it. So he said to Rava, this means that your business will fail, and you will not have anything. You will not be able to eat because of how sad you'll be. To Abaye, he said, this means that your business will be so successful that you won't be able to eat because you'll have so much joy. Next thing they said was that they saw the pasuk read to them, you will have sons and daughters, but they will go into captivity. So to Rav, he said this means that your children will be captured. To Abaye said it means that your sons and daughters will be so numerous that they'll marry people from all over the world and you won't see them, and it'll be as if they're captured. Next thing, they saw somebody reading, your sons and daughters will be given to an Am Acher. So Am Acher, a foreign nation, here is interpreted to mean a wife. So to Abaye said, this means that you're going to have so many children that you and your wife will have a disagreement of whose family they should marry into, and they end up marrying into your wife's family, not into yours. To Rava, he said this means that your wife is going to die, and you're going to have to take another wife, and your sons and your daughters will fall into the hands of a strange woman. This is who's Am Acher, who's not your wife, it's a different wife. And now, Bar Hedya went and he quoted Rava's own pshat to show him that this is true. He said, Rava himself once said, what is the meaning of the phrase to a new wife? Okay, next. What else did they see in the dream? They saw the pasuk Lechachol b'simcha lachmecha, go eat with joy your bread. So to Abaye said this means that your business will prosper and you're going to eat and drink in abundance, and you're going to say this pasuk in joy. And Rava said it means that you're going to have so much disaster and everything's going to fall apart that you're going to say this in order to console yourself. Next pasuk they saw was Zever Av Teitzi Asadeh, you will plant a lot. You will have a lot of grain to grow in the field, and the end of it is that you're not going to be able to harvest anything because it'll all be eaten by locusts. So to Abaye, he told him the first part, you're going to have a lot. To Rav, he said the last part, you're not going to have anything. The next thing they saw was, you'll have olive trees throughout all your boundaries, but you will not get any oil because all the olives will fall off. So to Abaye, he said the first part of the pasuk, you'll have a lot of olives, and to Rav, he said the last part of the pasuk, but you won't get any oil. Next thing that they saw was the pasuk which says, "V'rochel amei haaretz," and everybody in the world will see you. V'yaru mimeka, and they will fear from you. So to Abaye he said, what does it mean that everybody's going to fear you? It means that you'll be uplifted and exalted. You'll be the king, with meaning you'll be the leader of a great yeshiva, and everybody will be in awe of you. To Rav he said, you know what's going to happen? Somebody's going to break into the king's treasury, and their king is going to arrest you and say that you're the thief, and everybody's going to say, oy vey, if they could arrest Rav with a baseless charge, then I certainly have to fear, because they'll arrest me with a baseless charge as well. The Gemara comments that the next morning that actually happened. Somebody broke into the king's treasury and they arrested Rava. Okay, now they started saying other things that they saw in the dream, which were not psukim being read. They said, we saw, so now Abaye and Rava were both wine merchants. Therefore, the symbolism of a barrel of wine is their occupation, their business. So they said, we saw a lettuce leaf resting on a barrel of wine. So to Abaye said, you're going to have twice as much business as usual, like the leaves of a romaine lettuce that are folded up upon each other. To Rava, he said, your business will become as bitter as lettuce. Next, they saw a piece of meat sitting on a barrel of wine. So to Abaye said, your wine will smell great, and people will come and they will buy a lot of meat and wine from you. To Rava, he said, people are not going to be able to drink your wine. They're going to have to use it as vinegar to prepare their meat with. Next thing they saw was a barrel of wine hanging from a palm tree. So to Abaye said, means your business is going to grow tall. To Rava said, your wine will be sweet like the dates of a tree, and that's not good wine. Wine is not supposed to be sweet. Yeah, sweet wine is not quality wine. Next thing they saw was a pomegranate that was growing out of a barrel of wine. So to Abaye said that your merchandise will be so expensive, like a pomegranate, everybody's going to want to buy it. You'll make a lot of money off it. To Rava, he said, your wine will be sharp. It'll be tart like a pomegranate, and nobody's going to want to buy it. Next, they saw a barrel of wine that fell into a pit. So to Abaye, he said, it's going to be like the expression that people say, bread fell into the pit, meaning it's hard to find. And everybody's going to be seeking your wine and they won't be able to find it. To Rav, he said, no, all your wine will be ruined like it fell into a pit. Okay, the next thing they saw, nothing to do with wine barrels now, was they both saw a young donkey that was standing near their heads, and it was braying, making noise. So Abaye said, this means that you're going to be a great king, meaning you're going to be a Rosh Hashiva, and there'll be somebody standing at your side to announce what you say louder to all the great crowds who come to hear. To Rava, he said, the words Peter Chamor are erased from your tefillin. The Rava said, they're not. I checked myself. He said, well, certainly then the word Chamor is spelled without a vav. That the Sofer had originally written it without a vav, and then he had originally written it with a vav. It's supposed to be spelled without a vav, and then later the Sofer corrected it. So now the Gemara says, Rava later, a different time, went to Bar Hedya himself to have some other dreams interpreted, which were not also dreamed by Abaye. So he said, first of all, he saw that the door of my house fell off. Rava said, Bar Hedya said, the door of your house represents your wife. She protects your house like a door, and she is going to die. Rava said, I saw my teeth, my front teeth, and my molars fell out. He says, that's your sons and your daughters, they're going to die. Rava said, I saw two doves that were flying away from me. Bar Hedya said, that refers to two wives that you're going to have, and you're going to divorce both of them. Rava said, I saw two heads of turnip. Said you're going to get hit by two clubs, which are shaped vaguely like turnips. So the Gemara says this actually happened that day. The next day, so in order to avoid all of this, Rava went to learn in the Beis Medrash as much as he could, and there he saw two people who were blind, and they were fighting with each other with clubs. So Rava tried to separate them, but in the meantime they were blind, so they whacked him on the head. So he got whacked twice with a club, and then they were going to hit him a third time. He said, no, I only get two. That's what I saw in my dream. Okay, in the end, Rava came to Bar Hedya and he paid him for his future dream interpretations. And now his dreams changed in their meaning. He said, I saw a dream that the house on my wall collapsed. So Bar Hedya said that means that you're going to have limitless property. You won't be limited by walls. He said, I saw that Abaye's mansion fell down and I was covered by the dust. Bar Hedya said that means that Abaye is going to die. He's going to lose his yeshiva and you're going to be appointed Rosh Hashiva after him. That actually happened. Then he said, I saw that my mansion fell down and people came away and took the bricks apart one by one. He said, that means everybody's going to come and take your teaching and they're going to spread it all over the world. Then Rava said, I saw my head split, my brain fell out. He said, that just means that the feathers came out of the pillow on your bed. Then he said, I saw people saying Hallel. The Gemara refers to it as Egyptian Hallel. That's a Hallel was said at Mitzrayim. He says, that just means that miracles are going to happen to you. Okay, now the Gemara relates the end of the story between Rava and Bar Hedya. The Gemara says they were both traveling on a boat. And Bahedi said to himself, hold on a second, if this guy is going to have miracles happening to him, why am I on a boat with him? Maybe the miracle will be that he'll be saved when the boat sinks, and I won't be. I don't want to have that happen. So he left the boat. On his way out, he dropped the book, and the book was his manual for interpreting dreams, and Rava saw that it was written on it that the dream always follows how you interpret it. And Rava had thought all along that all these bad things were supposed to happen to him anyway, and Barhedia was just saying them because that's what the truth was. There was a reason why his interpretations were different than Abayi's. So he said, oh, I see you just started up with me because I didn't pay you. He said, you're a Rasha, you caused all these bad things to happen to me. I could forgive you for everything except for the fact that the daughter of Rav Chizda, who was Rava's wife, that she died. So he cursed Barhedia, and he said, may you be handed over to the authority of a kingdom that will have no pity on you. Now Barhedia got scared because he knew that the klala, the curse of a chacham, comes true even if you're not guilty, maybe you're just a little guilty, but here he deserved it all right. So he said, I better run into exile, maybe that'll atone, and that will have my tshuva will be accepted. So he went to exile, and he went to Rome, and he sat by the house of the door of the person who was in charge of the royal silks. And the guy came out, and he saw him, and I guess he knew that he knows how to interpret dreams, and he said, listen, I had a dream that there was a needle stuck in my finger. So he said, do me a favor, give me a zuz so I can interpret for you. But he didn't, so Bahadia wisely, instead of giving him a bad interpretation, didn't say anything at all. Well, then he had another dream. He said, I had a dream that a worm was on my fingers. So he said, give me a zuz, I'll interpret it. But he didn't, so he didn't say anything. Finally, he had the third one, and this time he saw that a worm was attacking my entire hand. So this time, Bahadi said, it means that the entire silks of the king have been destroyed. Well, that was really the truth, and when the king heard about that the silks were destroyed, they took the silk keeper and they were going to put him to death. And he said, why are you killing me? I didn't know it was happening. Kill this guy. He knew it was happening. He didn't say anything because I didn't want to give him a zuz. So they took Bahadia and they said, by your insistence for a zuz, you made all the king's stuff be destroyed, and they put him to a very horrible execution. They tied two cedar trees together, and they pulled them close, and then they tied one of his legs to each of them, and then they released them. So they sprung back to their proper position, and he was ripped in half. Okay, now the Gemara says some more interpretation of dreams. The Gemara says that Ben Dama, who was the nephew of Rabbi Yishmael, said, I saw in a dream that my jaws fell off. He said, that means that people were plotting evil things against you. Two Roman battalions were plotting evil things against you, but they died. So those who spoke, symbolized by jaws, evil against you, are gone. Now the Gemara has a series of dreams that were brought to Rebbe, and they sounded very scary dreams, but Rebbe found a positive way of interpreting them because everything follows the interpretation. So Bar Kapara says, I saw in a dream that my nose fell off. Rebbe said the nose symbols anger. It says Charoin Af Hashem. The nostrils flare. That means that the anger against you has been canceled. Next dream he said, I saw that my hands fell off. He said that means you're not going to need your hands anymore. You're going to be so rich you won't have to work. Then he said, I saw my legs were cut off. He said that means that you're not going to have to walk. You'll be able to ride on a horse. Then he said, I saw that you're going to die in Adar and you're not going to see Nisan. He said that means you're going to die be'adarta with tremendous glory, and you're not going to have nisayon. That's why you're not going to have challenges spiritually. Now the Gemara lists an exchange between a tzedukah, a type of Rasha, and Rabbi Yishmael. In each of them, the tzedukah mentions something that he saw in a dream, and Rabbi Yishmael interprets it about a certain avera that tzedukah had committed. So the first one he said was that I was pouring oil into olives. So Rabbi Yishmael said that means you committed incest with your mother, because the oil comes from inside the olive and then you pour the oil back into the olives. The next thing is he said, I saw that I pulled a star out of the sky. He said that means that you kidnapped a Jew. He said then I swallowed the star. He said that means that you sold the person you kidnapped and you consumed the money. Next, Tzedukah said, I saw two eyes that were touching each other. He said that means that you were committed incest with your sister. Eyes are like siblings. The next thing he said is, I saw that I kissed the moon. He said that means that you were together with the wife of a Jew. The moon is often a reference to a wife because it receives from the sun. Next he said, I saw that I was standing in the shadow of a hadassim tree. He says, well, hadassim is what chuppos were made out of, so that means that you violated a nara amarasa, a betrothed young girl. So then I saw that the shadow was above me and it was below me at the same time. He says that means that you committed this act in an unnatural position with the girl. Okay, then he said that I saw ravens around my bed. He said, that means that your wife was with many men. He said, and I saw that there were pigeons around my bed. He said, that means that you were with many women. Then he said, I saw that I was holding on to 2 pigeons and they were trying to fly away from me. He says, this means that you had 2 wives and you let them go without a proper divorce, because a bird flying away from you is a divorced woman, like we saw earlier with Rava, but here he was still holding on to them, so he hadn't given them a get. So then he saw that I was peeling eggs. He said, that means that you stripped a corpse, a dead body. So he said, I did all these things you said, but that one I didn't do. I didn't skin anything that was dead. So just then a woman showed up and he said, hey, you, Mr. Tzeduki, that coat you're wearing belongs to a certain man that I'm aware of, and you stole it from him after he died. So he hadn't actually stripped skin, but he had stripped clothing. Okay, further things that he said to me, he said, I saw that people were saying to me that your father left you property in a country called Kaputkia. So Yishmael said, do you have any land in Kaputkia? He said, no. He said, did your father ever go there? No. So he said, then it doesn't mean Kaputkia itself, it means Kappa Keshura, the beam which is on top of the wall of your house, the header. So go there and you'll find that it's full of gold coins. So he went there and he found it was actually full of gold coins. Now the Gemara is going to give us a list of various different things you might see in a dream and what they each mean based on the psukim. So first of all, if you see a well in your dream, so then that means you're going to have a peace, like Yitzchak. It says that he dug his final well and he had peace over it. They didn't start up with him after that. Next it says, somebody who sees a well in a dream could also mean that he's going to have a Torah scholarship, because it says as follows. It says, Moitzi Matzah Chaim, Torah is compared to life, and it says Be'er Mayim Chaim, a well of living water. So water is also compared to life. That's a connection between the two. Rava says no, the symbolism of the well is that you'll actually have life, not that life refers to Torah. Now the Gemara brings a number of other things that also are similar or symbolic to peace. The Gemara says it's the river, the kettle, and the bird. Why the river? Because it says, Hineni Naita Eleha Kenar Shalom, I will extend peace like a river. A bird, it says, Kitziparim Avais Kain Yaga, and Hashem protects you like flying birds. And the third thing is the pot, because it says that Hashem will place peace on you like a pot placed on the fire. Now, Rabbi Chanina says that's only if the pot doesn't have meat in it. If the pot has meat in it, it means something else. It's something not good. Okay, now the Gemara has a list of things that you might see in a dream, and there are 2 psukim which can interpret them, one for the good and one for the bad. So the Gemara advises you to think of the good pasuk before the bad one pops into your head. So first of all, a river, we said that could refer to peace, but make sure you think of that before you have ki yavai kanahar tzara, that pain comes like a river. Now the bird, we also said could refer to peace, so make sure you think of that pasuk before you think of the one that says kitzipor noidedes mekina, a bird wandering from place to place. Now the pot, we also said, refers to peace, so think of that before you think of the pasuk that says suffice asir suffice, set the pot and set it up. It comes from the Yecheskel, which describes a siege which will befall Yerushalayim. Next, somebody who sees grapes should think of Ka'anavim ba'midbar, like I found Israel like grapes in the desert. Before you think of Anavema in Veirosh, that grapes are tasting evil, which is a bad symbol. If you see a mountain in a dream, think of the pasuk Ma'anavu al-haram ragleim mavaser. How great are the mountains which herald the coming of Mashiach. Before you think of al-haram asabechi v'nahi, on the mountains I will raise my voice in mourning and wailing. If you see a shofar, you should think of Hay Bayemu Yitakab Shofar Gadol. Before you think of the pasuk Tiku Shofar by Giva, there'll be a shofar in Giva which warns of an army coming to destroy the city. If you see a dog, think of the pasuk that no dog barked at the Jews when they left Mitzrayim. Do not think of Klavim Azi Nefesh, dogs are greedy. If you see a lion, think of the pasuk Aryeh Sha'ag Miloi Yira, when a lion roars, who will not fear, meaning referring to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Don't think of the pasuk that says Allah Aryeh Misuvchai, a lion has left the den, and that is on the way to it's referring to the army that is coming to destroy Yerushalayim. You see a haircut in your dream, so you should think which happened to Yosef when he went to see the king. Do not think of Kim Gulachti v'samimenu kaichi, where Shimshon said that if I'll be shaven, I'll lose my strength. You see a well, think of the pasuk Bar Mayim Chaim. Don't think of Kahakir Bayer Meimel, as well issues forth its waters, so she issues forth her evil. You see a reed, so think of Kana Ratzitz Loy Yishbar. You can't even break a broken reed. But don't think of the pasuk, so you're relying on a cracked reed, which is going to end up sticking you in the side. Now the Gemara says that there are a number of things which can be interpreted not by what they are, but by similar words that sound similar to it. So a reed is called kaneh, so that's similar to kinyan. So if you see a reed, that could mean acquiring chachma. If you see reeds, that could be acquiring many different acquisitions of chachma. Now, if you have a gourd, or a heart of palm, or wax, or a reed, these are called kara, kaira, kira, kanya, all similar. Then they're all similar to that and can all be included in the vision of acquiring understanding. A gourd also is called a deluin, which can refer to the pasuk which says, Dalu einai lamar, my eyes were raised up to heaven, or Chizkiyahu was asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu to cure him from his illness. So that would also be a good thing to interpret it. Next, the Gemara says, if you see an axe, so you should think of the pasuk B'chor Sherei Hadalei. He's a firstborn ox. He's noble. Don't think of the pasuk that says when an ox gores a man. No, don't think of that. Now we have a brisa which lists 5 different things that an ox might signify based on in what context you see the ox. So if you see an ox, if you see yourself eating the meat of an ox, it means you'll become rich. If you see an ox goring you, that means you're going to get into a machlokes in halacha. Baruch Hashem Gavaldi. If you see an ox biting you, that's bad news. Bad things are going to happen. If you see an ox kicking you, it means you're going to have a long journey. You're going to be on foot a lot. If you see riding, then it means it's a good sign you're going to rise to greatness. The Gemara says, really? But I have a different brisa that says if you see riding with an ox, it means you're going to die. The Gemara says, well, it depends who's riding who. You're riding the ox is a good sign. The ox is riding you, that can't be good. Next, a donkey. So the Gemara says, if you see a donkey, you should think, you could assume that Yeshua, you'll have greatness. You will have salvation, because it says about Mashiach that he will be ani v'reich v'chamar, a poor man riding on a donkey. Next, what if you see a cat? So it depends where you are. Some places they're called shunra, which stands for Shira Na. There's a good song waiting for you. But if it's Shinra in your town, that's bad because it means Shinoi Rai, change for the bad is about to happen. Now if you see grapes, so it depends. If it's white grapes, that's fine. If it's black grapes, then it depends also. If it's in their season, fine. But if it's black grapes out of season, 2 things bad, that's not good. Something bad's about to happen. Now if you see a horse, so again, depends. White horse, that is fine. If you see a red horse, then if it's trotting calmly, so that's good. But if it's galloping, a red horse galloping, that's bad news. Now, if you see Yishmael, so that's good. That means that Hashem's going to listen to your tefillah, Yishmael. However, if you see just a random Arab, so that doesn't count. That's bad. Or, well, not necessarily bad, but it's not good. Now, if you see a camel, so camel is called Gamol, so that signifies that you were decreed death, but you've been saved from it, because there's a pasuk that says, I'll go down to Mitzrayim and I'll bring you up. So Gam refers to a camel, which is called Gamol. And Gamalei, I'll bring you up from the death that you might have been decreed. Now, there's another source for that. Gam Hashem Havir Chatas. Hashem Gam, again, similar to camel, removed your sin and you're not going to die. Now, if you see Pinchas in a dream, that means miracles are going to happen to you. Like Pinchas said, 6 miracles happened to him when he attacked Zimri. If you see an elephant, miracles will also happen. An elephant in Hebrew is called a peel, which means wonders. Which is what I mean. At a brisa that says if you see any kind of wild animal, it's bad news. Except for, any kind of bad animal is good news. Except for an elephant or a monkey. That's bad news. Gemara says not a problem. Depends if you saw an elephant with a saddle, that's good news. An elephant without a saddle, that's a wild elephant, that's bad news. Now, if you see the word huna spelled out, that's good. Gemara seems to say because there's a nun in huna. Not clear why the other names with nun do not count. But if you see Chanina, Chananya, or Yechanan, both of these have multiple nuns. That means you can have multiple miracles performed for you. And then if you see a written eulogy, then that means that Shemayim spared you from terrible things that may have happened to you. But not if you saw any other eulogy related things, only if you saw it in writing.